I just want to say first, welcome to Gym Class Podcast. Here with Mallard Creek coach Kennedy Tinsley. In your fourth year, this will be?
Yep, big one.
I mean, time goes by fast. I believe the first year you came in was the COVID year. So if you could, just talk to me about that adjustment from that year to where we are now after an 8-3 season last year.
Yeah.
And just talk to me about that period and how we got here.
The cool thing about it is every year we've made progress, man. So we started off that COVID year and it was very challenging. It wasn't Mallard Creek's standard in the past. And then we went from the COVID year in the spring to the next fall. You know what I mean? So you got to turn around and get right back ready to go again. And we lost some kids in that transition. And we had a good response late in the season, went third round and did all right. And then turn around and had the season we had last year. So we're getting to the point where we want to be. I think the biggest thing about being here 4 years is now like the kids that are here, they were freshmen our first year. And it does feel completely different. Like they're our kids. They kind of carry the culture and represent the culture of what we wanted to build. So it's a direct reflection of like, you know, exactly what you have put in as far as, the program and the coaches work-wise. And now we're getting, what we want out of it as far as ultimately the culture with the kids. Like they're doing it our way, however we define that. They're really good kids. They work really hard. So just seeing that transition from where we were to where we are now is pretty neat. And there's things that you're always trying to get better, coach's eye, so it's never good enough. But there are days where I look and I see certain things and I'm like, man, I'm definitely proud to just have the opportunity to be a part of these guys' lives and see that they are doing the right thing and working to improve and representing the things that you kind of set as a standard. So that's always neat.
With Mallard Creek head coach Kennedy Tinsley, one of the things you said a few times, just the program and standard. You coming into a program, like a lot of high schools, they could say they had a program, but it's not really a program. Like you guys have a reputation, and then you coming in, I believe being one of only through a handful of coaches that have been through here.
Sure.
You have a blessed opportunity to take that position. How have you been able to accept that responsibility, and what was your 5-year plan coming in here now going into year 4?
That's a great question. Like when the opportunity presented itself, I'm going back to like just standpoint of ministry. I thought it was a great chance to like put our ministry on a higher level. And the school we were at is a good program. I mean, we had went to state championship in 3A, so we felt like, we were competitive and doing well. But this was like definitely the next step up. So the question is like, can you, from a ministry standpoint, bring that on a higher level and still be successful? And our top goal always is to, represent ultimately what the Lord would want, which is getting the most out of each kid through something that they enjoy. So in doing that, it's been a lot of fun, but it's been by far the biggest challenge in my career. And I've had a lot of help with the great assistant coaches, a lot of help with staff in the school. They've been very supportive and patient, over the years, so that we can continue to improve and try to do it the way we were trying to do it. And I do think there were some differences, between Mike Palmieri and his programs and our programs, and COVID only made that more challenging. But over time, man, we're seeing the fruits of our labor, and this is a big year, man, because now we got to show improvement, even more improvement. You know what I mean? Got to, like, it's got to continue to make the climbs, and I think there is some pressure in that sense in my mind. Like, you got to continue to climb the ladder to get better. But that's not more important than the kids getting better and their families getting better and the future of their families getting better. Like, that's the most important thing, and I couldn't, without a doubt, can say that I see that happening with our guys.
What was like the biggest, like you said, there are some differences between Palmieri and you guys coming in. What was the biggest difference that you personally felt that you had to overcome to become the coach that you are here now?
Well, I think a huge difference, heck, our first year was just the difference in personnel. You know what I mean? They had, I don't know, 8 D1 kids. The year before with Trent Simpson and CJ. I mean, they just had a fantastic group. And when we came in, you know, obviously with COVID being shut down, we didn't have the same type of group. So now, model-wise, I think it changes because now you got to try to get more out of those guys, and that means your process got to change. Well, if the process changes, then people look at you like you're crazy because it's like, this ain't the way we've been Mallard Creek. So then there's some conflict, you know, and some struggles. And then there was even transition of people. I mean, all the things you can think of in that deal. But, you know, we kind of kept sticking to what we feel like is right, which is all you can do. Do what you feel like is right, do the best you can. And over time, we've gotten better and better.
And typically when we have like pushback or things aren't going the way we plan, or that adversity hits, you tend to always lean back on something in your past that you were able to overcome. Growing up in Greensboro and kind of being in this area, is there anything from your youth or as you went into college or just something that you overcame that you were able to lean on and say, well, I made it through this. This isn't much to me. I can make it through that.
Yeah, man, you got a lot of great questions, man. So, you do. So, for me, you know, now it's personally, it's really simple, and but when I was young, I was in middle school, I had a notebook where I wrote down some goals. You know, man, I wanted to play college football at UNC or I think Florida State, and I wanted to play in the NFL. And like all the things that happened in my life, I literally got the opportunity to do both. So ever since then, I've always reflected back to that. And there's been more challenges that I've had personally after football, you know what I mean, getting a job and working and you fail and all those things, I'm able to like lean back and remember that. And I think ultimately it just speaks to, you know what I mean, your relationship with the Lord. That's what it comes down to, you know, and there's times where I'm not sure. And there's times where, like, you know, man, this is really tough and I'd rather not do this or deal with this. But I just reflect on the fact that the Lord has blessed me and I lean on that relationship. And he seems to always pull us through, you know. So I kind of bank on that every time, man.
It's funny you say that because, like, I read a book by Tim Grover. He was Michael Jordan's coach, or trainer, and he said one of the things that always stuck out to me, and I tell my daughter, and I think a lot of kids need to learn that, is making the uncomfortable comfortable.
Yeah.
You know, and there's always going to be uncertainty. If you're going into a new job, if you're even in a dating world, you're dating someone new, there's going to be an uncomfortable state that you go through, and making that comfortable, you know, which seems to be something that you've been able to pull out of yourself, you know. And I think it's something that is important for any athlete and anyone that wants to make it. You know, you're going to have to run that extra gasher when you're tired, you know, to get through. You know, so throughout that uncomfortability, what would you say has been some of the best advice that you got from someone that you can kind of share with everyone?
You know, the best advice I have is probably from my father and my mom growing up. And my dad made it really, I mean, he worked really hard for our family. But the biggest thing was we always set the Lord as the priority, you know, coming up. And there were things that were just more important than other things. But if you worked hard, then you could essentially get all of it. And so One thing that I reflected on that I actually heard again from a coach was, you want it all. So you want to have a good relationship with the Lord, and you want to have a great family. You know what I mean? So you want to lead your family, and you want to have a great relationship, and you want to have a successful football program, and you want your kids to be successful. So in trying to get it all, that means that there's, I don't know if the balancing act is the right word, but like you're depositing in multiple areas, so that one fails and the other one succeeds, and sometimes, naturally I love football, you know what I mean, but I don't want to love football so much that my family fails. I don't want to love football so much that I don't have a good relationship with the Lord. So that's the best advice, and I think in investing in the right things, then I've been able to see other things be successful. In the same way it goes for our kids, right? We love football. We want them to love football. Football is really important, but we can't do so well in football that we're not doing well academically. Now if we're not doing well academically, when football doesn't go as far as we want, do we have the options and the ability to get the most out of other opportunities? So it's the and that all that really kind of sticks out to me. Another great advice I got is from Bronco Mendenhall, who was the head coach at UVA years ago, and he told me, every organization is designed to get the results that it gets. And what that does is it makes you take accountability, which is one of our core principles, for the results that you're getting. It doesn't mean that it's always your fault, but it does make you reflect on, hey, why am I getting this result, or what can I do better to not get that result, or to get more of a result. Yeah. And so I think that's put pressure on me to take responsibility for our team. It put pressure on our kids to take responsibility for our team. Coaches the same, just that kind of look in the mirror concept for everything, and that when it comes to organization is how you develop great leaders. Yeah. Like, you got to take accountability and say, hey, I got this result because this person we haven't done a good job investing in this person. That's why they made that decision. Have we covered that? Maybe we haven't covered it. So it's easy to blame the kid, yeah. But if I've never covered it as a coach, then I should, as a leader, take some accountability for that too.
That's a growth process. That's something that you probably have to encounter every day, making sure that, every loss that you take, what were you able to do? Were you able to dot your I's and cross your T's?
Yeah.
I was looking at you guys' schedule last year, and of course y'all didn't get out to the best start that you probably anticipated. But at the same time, you guys, you played Weddington, you had Buford, you had South Point, Gaffney.
Yeah.
Those are your first teams, first four teams. I believe half of those teams, or either a third of them, 2/3 of them were like competing for a state championship.
Yeah.
Is there a reason that you guys schedule like that? Of course, the name being Mallard Creek, you're always going to want somebody, everyone's going to want to take their best shot at you. Yeah. Is there a reason that your schedule is set up like that? And how did you feel you guys performed within that first quarter of the season?
Yeah, so we set it up on purpose. The one that was like a huge difference was obviously the Buford one, but the opportunity in relation to finances, in relation to location, that was kind of better because we wanted to do like an out-of-state game, and that we could financially do all that. But the other thing is we want to expose the kids to the best. The biggest thing in scheduling is like you want to come out healthy. You don't want to get so banged up that it ruins the rest of your season. But I also think like the most important thing about a football season is how you finish. So I've seen teams pace themselves. They get a simple schedule and they pace themselves, and they're not prepared for postseason play. So in my mind, let's challenge ourselves during the season so that we're prepared for the postseason. And the greater the challenge, the better. We think of practice that way. Right now we do some people say it's crazy, but like we do some stuff in practice that's kind of really hard. and it stresses the kids a little bit because we wanted to be challenging only so that they're prepared for the later. Now, there's a thin line. If you cross it, like I said, it can hurt you long term as well as far as injuries and getting too beat up. But last year, man, we were happy. We came out of it wasn't Weddington, it was Myers Park, and but the rest of them, you're right. And we came out of it 2-2, and we're like a minute away from being 3-1. So it's like you coming out of that stretch 3-1. Man, we were where we wanted to be. We didn't play well at all against Gaffney. I don't even think we gave ourselves a chance. So that was disappointing. But I think we learned a lot from it. And then when we played South Point, man, it was like night and day as far as that experience to South Point. So I think that helped us play better. I don't know if we beat Gaffney if we don't have those in the circumstances and the situation that we had the week before. So it was good, man. And this year's much of the same. I mean, yeah. I mean, Independence is really good. One of the top teams in the state. We're supposed to be, and then we still got Gaffney and we still got Buford. So the only thing we had is a bye week, and then we kind of hit conference play.
So what did you take from those 4 games that you're like, okay, maybe we didn't do this right last year, now we got another shot, basically the same 4, a little switched up. What do you kind of implement from last year to this year?
Yeah, I definitely would like to play. The big first game is huge against Independence, just as far as City Charlotte and their up and coming program, or heck, I guess they already arrived. They got them ranked number 4 or something. So they've arrived, and we get the opportunity to play them. So that's a huge game for us. And then playing Buford, we definitely want to play better than we did last year. Like, we want to show improvement as far as playing all 4 quarters, as far as just believing in ourselves. I think those are good measuring sticks to see what you're made of. The other thing I love, bro, is to get exposed. Like, give me the information so we can work on it. And you don't get the information if you go out there and you just run around. But yeah, man, you want information of where you need to improve and get better. I think that gives us that. Now, I mean, there's some other teams now, they kind of like follow that same format, you know what I mean? They got some challenging schedule. Butler's got a challenging schedule this year. I think Huff's got a challenging out of conference schedule. So I think that's the best way to do it. Like I said, the thin line is just trying to stay healthy.
Yeah, I was looking, it's funny, as you say that, I was looking at, I believe it was a tweet about the top 100 teams in public school. And you guys y'all were up there, top 100.
Yep.
Only teams in North Carolina were you guys, well, it's Huff, Grimsley, and you guys. Y'all
Gotcha.
were 92, I believe.
Okay.
And the funny thing is, though, I look at that and you see a Mallard Creek program, top 100 public schools, but then you have some local guys that cover, they had y'all like 4th, and you got teams like Butler, Independence, ahead of you.
Sure.
What do you take from that? Because you got one level, you got nationally they're putting you guys up there.
Right.
But then locally, it's like, is the local guys not seeing something the national guys seeing? Or what do you take from that? I'll just leave it up to you to dissect however you like.
I think I would say one, technically, local has more information. You know what I mean? Because they cover this area, it's smaller. Whereas if you're covering nationally, you might not have as much information about the whole nation.
Yeah, which is sort of half my point.
Yeah, so I take it as they feel like those teams are going to be better than us, and we got something to prove. That's how I take it. Obviously, we don't like it, you know what I mean? But, it is what it is, and they think what they think. Sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong, So we definitely pointed to that to the kids, as far as like, hey,
But y'all beat the number 1 team in the state. I mean, as far as public schooling off last year.
Sure, yep.
So,
And I think they picked us to lose that, brother. So I'm gonna keep riding that for as long as they'll give it to us, for sure,
I
man.
know that has to motivate you guys because y'all come in with, a stout defense.
Yeah.
Offense should, I believe, be better this year.
Right.
So if you could just talk to me a little bit about your team. You got a good quarterback in there. Seen him throwing, seems to have a strong arm. The receiver room, how's that growing?
Sure.
Just talk to me a bit about the offense before we go to defense.
Yeah. So offensively, since we've been here, I think our first year, Brower was the quarterback. Then he ended up going to Butler senior year. So we haven't had like a consistent kid at quarterback since we've been here. So that's definitely hurt us offensively and made it challenging. This year is the first year where we had guys with like varsity experience. And so, I say that multiple years of experience, let's say, put it like that, in our program. And so right now we have Evan Rambert, who ended up starting in a playoff game last year. He was a starting JV quarterback. And then Caleb Knight has been playing some quarterback a little bit. And he played some varsity last year as well. Played some JV too, but mostly varsity at quarterback. And then our other kid that we had transferred to Chambers. So we feel good about the two that we have. Another freshman that's a rising sophomore now. Perry has been in the mix as well, so he's getting better. Receiver room, we still got Ben Black, who was our leading receiver last year, so he's had a great camp so far. And then
Defense as well, too.
he plays defense as well, yes sir. Yep, he plays corner. And then we have Kanye, who was out of state, man. He came from Virginia last year and came late. So he's kind of been a late bloomer, man, but we're expecting big things from him. Zach Moyer's been really consistent. And then Zachariah's had a great, summer, just enjoying. Zachariah White, yep.
He seems to have a lot of confidence.
Yeah, that's right. He does. Too much sometimes, but he does. He's done a complete 180 from last year. Like, I've been really happy with his progress.
If I may ask, what does too much confidence look like, and how do you kind of keep them in perspective?
Yeah, the biggest thing is just not transferring it to the opponent. That's where I look at it. Like, hey man, be confident in yourself. I think another dangerous is when you're so confident in yourself that you struggle with taking coaching. You know what I mean? Now you're going past. Humility is one of our core principles, and the thought is like, if in order to stay a winner, once you start winning, humility is what's going to do it. Because you got to have the same process of coming to work every day to improve. And I think we naturally attracted to people that are humble. You know what I mean? Because they think less of themselves and more of others.